You know, Jack, if I only had 2 flies to fish the rest of my life for trout, there's no hesitation on the decision. It would be the beta submerger and the copper johns, but you have to give me a variety of sizes. And I really feel I could go just about anywhere and catch fish most of the time. That's how strong I feel about that pattern.
Okay, John, don't you put a flash in these emergers?
You know, originally, I can't keep chronology of the whole thing because I tied this first fly 30 years ago and it had no one put flash beads on flies then. The flash, so I fished them plain probably for 20 years, and I probably didn't have the flash and bead till 10 years ago. When did beads come out? I don't know.
15, 18 years ago?
But it's probably like 10 years ago. 10, 12 years. I lose track.
But anyway, you start adding a flash to it.
But I added flash, I added bead, and it turns out my favorite sunken sunken bar merger is the flashback. And with this new Opal Mirage, it just makes it a absolutely lethal weapon.
This is a wee one.
I consider this large. This is about as big as I tie them, Jack.
I know, I'm from Wyoming, and 18 is small. Now, this is an unusual hook. I actually have not seen this hook before, except for a few bar emergers I've purchased from Umpqua.
Yeah, it's a 2 extra short, 3 extra wide, 2 extra strong hook.
A lot of extras there.
Because all I catch is big fish.
Jack. All right, what's the number? Jack. It's a TMC, I know that. What's the number? It's a test.
2488 heavy.
2488 heavy. Sounds like an airplane coming in.
It's a
747 heavy.
Yeah. Well, it's a hook that I pushed for years because I wanted a ring eye hook. Because in the small hooks and this style hook, these little scud style hooks, you get down to 22, 24, and you almost have no gap.
Right.
Your eye fills the gap up.
Right.
So anyway, finally got the ring eye strong hook, and I love the hook.
It's the same version of 9300 for our big hair drives and stuff. We needed that 1X heavy hook too.
Okay.
Because a 101 in New Zealand or 100 get straightened out with an 8-pound fish.
Crushed.
So 9300s came about.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to use some of this chocolate. This is a chocolate brown, kind of a darker brown.
You can use really a variety of different colors of browns. I use a lot of natural browns. I didn't even realize this was dyed one.
Just a rooster feather, right?
It's a nest.
Let me just take a look at this.
Here, put that up there.
I think I probably have thrown more of these away because I didn't have a use for it.
Oh, I know. You can't even find them in stores. No.
It's bad. It's called bad hackle made good.
I think I don't know where they come from because everything's genetic hackle now, and they have nothing but beautiful hackle. If it isn't perfect, they just burn it. And so we get just a little bunch of fibers there that we're tying for a tail.
It's like about half a dozen fibers.
Yeah, depending on the size of the fly, bigger the fly is, the more you put in. The smaller it is, the fewer you put in, but fairly sparse. And you're just going to tie that baby in there, down around the shank, kind of make it look a little lively. And then we're just going to use that same dubbing that we use for the PMD emerger.
Notice you went down the bend just a little bit.
Yeah, take it down the bend a little bit.
Down the bend a little bit.
Sure.
Now we've got some of this.
Same old dubbing that we use for the PMD emerger.
Right.
And this gets darker when it gets wet.
I kind of a straw color. You look for kind of a blend, or you can blend it yourself. It can't be too bright, right? It's not meant to be bright. It's been a dull color.
A dull color. More green, just more greenish olive.
Yeah.
This looks kind of straw, but when it gets wet, it gets kind of greenish olive.
Right.
So then you get up there and
really a simple fly.
It's a very simple fly, yeah. And it's a good, tough little fly too.
Well, as we talked about betas being everywhere, they come out in the spring and the fall, and at different elevations. Like right now, it's late May. They're just starting in Yellowstone Park, and they're done in a lot of places in, in the United States.
Oh, our beta's been going for a month, and we could see betas every day,
Oh,
all year long. But the heavy hatches are spring and fall, and they probably see more betas than any other mayfly. A lot of mayfly hatches are short, unpredictable, or sporadic. Betas are just bank to bank when the conditions are right. Cloudy days, and but you can still get a nice betas hatch when it's sunny, and fish just see so damn many of them.
Okay, now this is the flashback version of it.
Now, okay, we're going to do the flashback version, and the flashback version just happens to probably be my favorite. My favorite version.
Betas have a little flash to them, don't they? They reflect light.
Again, referring to Mike's book, a lot of these insects have a glow to them. But it's just my confidence pattern. And then I know I fish with guides who swear by the bead. And then there's some places that I found very, very pressured fish, Jack, where they won't take anything with beads or flash on it. Then you got to go to the plain.
You got to have everything.
And those are ultra pounded fish. So I carry all three.
Right.
Okay, so we get our flash in there.
So now we're going for the dun hackle.
I mean, look at that reflection.
Oh, I know. It's amazing, isn't it?
Now we're going to put the wing case, the thorax, and the legs, quote legs, actually little stubby wings. So we're tying a bunch of gray, just Chinese neck hackle, grade feathers in. And you can use whatever you want, but
that's good. And now this is done gray. I mean, you could even use some saddles on this because
I've used mess necks, gray.
But
saddles.
when you use a saddle patch, you get a little spade hackle left in there.
Yeah,
it worked perfect for that.
Sure.
Again, some of the gray, super fine. Now, stop right there. I want to show people something. See how you put that on? Look at that. It's elongated fiber. People don't realize that you spread it out before you put it on. You don't put it on like traditional dubbing. And you can get the finest, thinnest bodies in the world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable how thin a body you can put.
Pretty thin. I know. I can't even see that. Quit
that's thin.
Tormenting me.
That's thin, Jack.
That's thin. We'll never be that thin again. Okay, look at that. And that's, a friend of mine at Guides in the Deschutes said the biggest mistake people make when tying betas is they take them off the diet and make them too fat. Sparseness is really important, isn't it?
And
you didn't like that. It was too thick, wasn't it?
I got to talking, it was too fat.
Yeah.
So?
No, you got to see this. People, you can't be afraid. I don't care how much we've tied a pattern. Sometimes you just have to stop and do it over again, don't you, John?
Absolutely, you do. I mean, all of a sudden you get them and says, "Wait, that's too fat." And like Jack says, slimness is very, very important.
Especially on this beta.
Especially on the beta, you want slim. They're a slim, delicate little mayfly.
But the interesting thing about this fly, is you're tying that and doing such a good job on it.
And now we'll pull our hackle over. Go ahead, Jack.
What I was going to say is that the difference between the betas and a midge is how they ride in the water. And when you get down to something this small, it's very subtle that it's tied right the way it rides. You agree?
Yeah.
All right. This is where that straight eye, or ring eye as you like to call it, works so good because all the material is above the eye.
Yeah, good point. In fact, some of the material is above the flashback. Not any longer.
And I didn't even see that. See, that's your good eyes.
No, not any longer. Okay. Now we're going to snip
the
weather.
That's holograph. What? Now, give us that.
It's mirage, opal colored mirage, not holographic.
Ooh, mirage. Look how that's a pretty neat little logo there. But this stuff is now this is the saltwater version, right?
This is saltwater version, and the only color it comes in is this, which is opal. And this mirage kind of picks up the color around it.
Right.
I mean, it isn't just a single color. It's got a very special properties, so it just picks up the colors around it. It is just the neatest damn flash ike I've ever seen.
I use the Accent Mirage for underwings for fluttering caddis and stoneflies. Really good stuff. Sure. Okay, we're moving on.
We are moving on. So we've got our flashback tied in. And if you want to use this on a smaller fly, you can kind of pull it and stretch a little bit.
Right.
Or wing stubs back, whatever you want to call them. Crank that back if you're crowding your eye a little bit. Your eye gets nice and opened up. And then just kind of trim off the rest of the mirage. And I've got a few little extra pieces of mirage here. You want to.
Well, John, it helps to have a good pair of glasses when doing these small flies, right?
It really does. And this isn't even a small one. I mean, this is an 18. This is a big fly. I can do that.
Doing a whip finish. I think this is kind of important. What the next step is, John, is that showing people how to trim it at the right proportions. And I know I'm going to ask you to hold it in the vise where our folks can see it. There you go. Perfect. Now,
is that good?
Yeah, that's good. Now, real carefully trim those things. Show them their proportions right there. There you go.
So just go a little bit past the wing case. Little. Trim those off. It doesn't. There's again. You get some wiggle room there on length. A little short, a little long. That's okay. But that's about right. And we'll do the other guy. That's pretty good.
Okay, real slow. Real slow.
We got our flashback in there. We got our legs / wing pads in there. Now all that's left is to trim the end, our tail, the end of our shuck, and we'll just snip that off about like that. Again, that can vary a bit. A little shorter, a little longer is okay. And that's the basic fly right there.
Now let's take a look. The fly that I know, John, is the one that you first showed me years ago without the flashaboo in it. And what does that look like?
This.
Okay,
that's the original.
Good. Okay, put it in the vise where people can see the original. Again, without the flashaboo. And there'll be times you'll want to use this fly. I'll tell you where I think you'd want to use this fly is on the pseudos are those real small where I think that almost takes away from the fly when you get down to 24s. And
I use a lot.
24, 26s, you know.
I use what's called a micro merger for those.
Mm-hmm.
No flash.
No flash, yeah.
It's got a thread abdomen, and then the front is just like
right.
This.
And then we're looking at 24, 26, even 28.
501, 20, 22, and 24, but it's one extra short.
I want to look at that again, and what we're talking about, real small fly. And for those out there that are real tailwater fishers, especially in the late fall, and it seems like the later in the fall they get, the smaller they get.
And you're absolutely right. You get your biggest ones in the spring, and as you get into fall, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. You better start carrying your 20s, especially your 22s and 24s.
This is what we call instinct fishing.
Yep. So have a box of betas, 20s and smaller. But the body on that one's
beautiful taper. Is that what you want? That's what you're looking for?
Yes, exquisite taper.
Exquisite taper.